Okay.
Hey bro, so I've been into things and I thought I'd just show you what I've been up to. I was working on this thing here, little Rubo style book stand. This is kind of a test one. I wanted to see if I could cut the joinery so that it looked round instead of square like I had done before, and worked out pretty well. One of the feet broke off when I was trying to shape it into some more a more visually pleasing style, so I glued that back on, and I'll keep going on it here soon. I like the idea. You know, this is I made this back foot a little bit longer, but it sits up pretty close to a 45. I think when I make the other one, I'll have it sit up a little bit straighter. It'll hold a larger book. This is small. I'll make it a good bit larger than this. But yeah, that's a fun project you can do with just like, I don't know, 3-4 tools and a block of wood. And now I got all sorts of tools out. When I broke that foot, I was thinking I could drill a hole and put a dowel in to strengthen it. So I pulled out, I've got these like little scraps of ebony and ebony sawdust because I save everything. And so I pulled a little piece of ebony that I thought was about the right size, and I started kind of knocking the corners down on a plane. I put a little block plane, the vise here, and I was working on it like that to get the corners off. And then I was working on sandpaper, and then I thought, well, I wonder if like a tap and die, I mean, that, you know, maybe that'll work. I'll just force it through there. So I put it into the chuck of this little egg beater drill, and I clamped this little die in there and put it through. It worked pretty well. It made a pretty decent dowel. I really doubt you're going to be able to see, but the ebony is actually hard enough that it holds the threads, machine screw threads. But I think that'll work, and if not, I can just sand the threads off and tap it into a hole. So that's another possibility. I did some finishing with Jethro. Jethro really likes the end product, which is interesting because Drew really liked the end product. When we did these bottle window pillar things here, Drew really did not love me getting him up early every morning to come out here and do cement work. But when we got to the final part of smoothing and cutting in the bevel around the glass and getting it all just right, then he really was into it. And Jethro too. So this is another thing I want to finish, but I want it to be legible. Yeah, so I've always been slow to get to finishing because I'm not good at finishing, and I don't want to make it look worse than it already does. This is a piece of basswood that I think Katie Westmoreland gave me, and man, it holds fine detail way more than anything I've ever used out here. I also misspelled the name of God, which I kind of like because it was early on in my kind of fascination with the fact that we know God's name, and I was getting it wrong. You know, it's like it has that father-son feeling of the funny name that your son called you first before he said dad. Anyways, so I'm gonna finish that, and this is what we're finishing. Turn on some lights in here. And I haven't put anything away, so that's where we are. And this magnifying geek headgear, I love. It is an old man's best friend. Here's another carving I did recently. This is a Genesis. Yeah, Heidi's camera just ran out of memory, so now we're on to my phone. This is one I did recently, and it's got a little globe with the African continent on it. Folo folo ala ye sankolo ni dugukolo da. I want to have verses up all around the house. I like that idea, right? This year we're working on memorizing Bambara verses, so did that one in Bambara. This is a kind of a combo thing. I saw a guy who made a shooting board, you know, so you, just for quick lateral cuts, you slide it up against the edge of your board and it gives you something firm to saw against for getting square cuts on the end. And he had that, and then on the flip side he had a shooting board. So you flip it over, and then you can run your plane along here to true up the ends and get an exact 90 degrees on 2 planes, both left to right and in the yaw. Do they say that if it's on an airplane? But anyway, so I have it set up there so that the 90 degree stop becomes the hook and the bench hook. And this was a Paul Sellers idea, that you just kind of slide this piece in and it locks in place. So I can slide it out, and when I flip it over, then it becomes a 45 degree fence. So I can use it as a shooting board and do 45s too. So that was a fun project. I think it finished up. You know, like I said, I'm not good at getting a finish on things, and this is about the prettiest thing I've done to date. So yeah, I was glad to get that done. And my carving stuff, I gotta put that away, and my tools aren't organized, so when I needed what's this called? Help me out, babe.
Coping saw?
Coping saw. I had to go digging through and pull that out, and I got a box of my tools over there, but we're getting there. We're getting close to organized. Zon has helped me get a bunch of bikes running, so now we've got a bike for almost everybody. This is the pile of bikes that aren't working, that need a little bit more than just a tune-up, you know, so they need to have some derailleurs replaced or things like that. And then I'm hoping to give some of them away, or at least make them available to other people here that could use a bike. I got a lot of cleanup to do. And that's why I kind of wanted to show you before I got it all done. Like, here's what I've been working on. Oh, I know. Here's another thing. I drilled a couple of holes in my bench top, and I love just doing it. I just took this, I don't even know what kind of, it's super soft, but it works fine. And it comes out of the hole really easily, and it kind of wedges in and gets stuck, doesn't fall through. Don't need the hardwood thing. I haven't figured out how I could do a quick and easy hold fast, but this works real well as a bench dog for holding those boards that I've been planing. This right here is a rag, because any amount of effort makes me sweat so much that it's dripping all over my workpiece. And when I'm doing the final like smoothing plane on it, and I want it to be pretty, and then I'm just dripping all over it, this helps me out. These little blocks here, that was really handy. I had one here, and it helped me get a very accurate 90 degrees. What else? The table saw. Who needs them? They're overrated, right? My bandsaw is great. I got oh, did I never showed you this. I made this the other day too. This mallet. This was also a Paul Sellers video. So I don't. Yeah, there you go. So I just did. It's a slanted mortise, and the handle is the tenon, and then I just carved it to fit my hand a little bit. It's honestly a little on the heavy side for smaller work, but it's great for banging out a big mortise when you're, want some force behind it, or working with it this way. It's when it weights on your wrist that's a little bit too heavy.
And what's that table there for?
This, yeah, I told you that Jethro loves to finish things. He really wants to refinish our dining room table, so we brought this out here. So we're working on that. He refinished a set of bowls, and that was good. This is an old science project with a bunch of broken mirrors, and I'm working on an idea of how I want to reflect the shop light that I have down into my workspace better. I tend to get a lot of shadows when I'm trying to cut like fine lines, and I need to upgrade. I need to go to the 1.75s. These 1.5s aren't good for the fine detail. So with this old science project, I was going to use those old broken mirror chunks, make something with them. You know, this won't make sense to most people watching this video, but I've determined that we are a family of grublets. That's kind of how we roll. So, in our grubbling efforts, we picked up an old stove.
Move that screen. Oh, it's okay. Just come around.
Yeah. That little old piece of screen there was cutting down the wind because a storm blew in today, and the air flows through here pretty well. So this is an old stove that we got, and Heidi is canning beans like any good Kulabali would. You get that one? Kulabalis eat beans? It's funny in America. It's funny in Mali, maybe not in America. Bean eaters. It's funny, right? Beaners? Oh. Yeah. So I wish you were here and I could keep talking with you while I cleaned all this up. This is the most important space. I haven't said anything about this. So 3 days a week we roll the cart and the moto out and clean this space up and do a kids club in here. Dowda teaches everybody who can touch their ear up to readers. So if they can do their alphabet, or if they're ready to start learning the initial alphabet and everything, Dowda does that in here with them. Zahn's out on the porch, and he does little kids. He's mostly kind of daycare so that they don't distract their older brothers and sisters that they came with. And then I've got just Zach plus 2 or 3 other kids who can read, but need to kind of up their game. And for Zach, it's a Bambara learning exercise. For all of our kids, it's a Bambara learning exercise. And yeah, it's really good. I'd love to see it turn into a legit little school. I talk to guys about it a lot, and I'm ready to jump, but I couldn't do it on my own. So, yep, that's the fun things we got going here. This is in Heidi's world. This fun little, it's like this perfect little laundry solution for the first world.
That pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's right. And they say it doesn't use a lot of water, but it uses a lot of water. And they say, it's like efficient, but we have the biggest electricity bill we've ever had. I'm pretty sure it's this guy's fault.
Plus the AC, plus the hot water heater.
Plus the AC, yep. And we've been using the hot water heater. Yeah, so I can't blame her for all of it, but she did get our sheets clean because it makes its own hot water, and it's also a washer and a dryer. So we're learning how to use it. I think we'll just do, like, when it's the rainy season and it's too cloudy to actually dry your clothes outside, and we can throw them in here for the last little bit. Otherwise, it doesn't dry a full load of wet clothes very well. All right. Love you, man.